All right, Harold. Part 2, the beat switch. So you're getting to the end of this part, this song.
Virgil got a paddock on my wrist going nuts.
So basically that finishes. And this guy
got red bottoms on. His life is good. You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's the change. And that happens at measure 70. All right, we're going to start with the drums. Make a new track. I went ahead and put in the same drum, the Funk 2 kit. I think I changed out the hi-hat, but it doesn't really matter. All right, I'm using a clap, a kick, and the hi-hat. Maybe 2. Yeah, there's a snare drum in here too. Okay, so drums sound like this. That repeats 4 times. So I'm just going to show you the 1. Okay, so we're just looking at this part here. Kick on beat 1. Snare on beat 3. Kick on the and of beat 4. Kick on the and of beat 4. Kick on beat 2 of measure 71. And I should say clap, not snare. Clap on beat 3 of 71. All right, so each one of these is 2 measures. Then you have eighth notes on the hi-hat, except for beat 3 of measure 71, which you're going to need to come in here, change the note value of your grid from 16ths to 30 seconds and put in 4 30-second notes for that fast hi-hat roll. All right, so it sounds like this. It does that 4 times. That 4th time, if you really want to be accurate about it, you put in another fast roll of 4 30-second hi-hats in there. Now what changes in the 5th measure here is just this snare drum plays here where the clap plays, and then again when the kick drum plays, then again where the clap plays. And that plays 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And also on the 4th one, there's that fast hi-hat roll at the end. I would call that optional. Okay? So right now we have 2 different drum patterns. Really not. They're very much the same, except this, these 4 have the extra snare drums. So the first one I showed you plays for 4. The second one plays for 4. Back to the first one for 4. Back to the second one for 4. Back to the first one for 3, because there's a little breakdown here. First one comes back at 110 for 4 more. Break for 2 measures, comes back with the second drum pattern for 3 times. Back to the first drum pattern for 3 times. Break from measure 132 to 134. Back with that first drum pattern 4 times. Second drum pattern 4 times. That's it. Okay? So just zooming out a little bit. 4. So pattern 1 4, pattern 2 4, pattern 1 4, pattern 2 4, pattern 1 3, blank, pattern 1 4, break, pattern 2 3 times, pattern 1 3 times, break, pattern 1 4 times, pattern 2 4 times. Okay? Now, the main synth part is a 4 measure, well, Here, just check this out. First of all, what sound am I using? I am using Expand. It is called the Soft Workstation in electric pianos. And I think I did some stuff, so we're going to go in there. Electric piano, Soft Workstation. Okay, you can hear quite a bit of bell to it. And what I did is I took this cutoff, I think. I turned it down because I don't want that much. Did I do anything here? Let's see. Okay, so on the easy, press on the easy button, move your cutoff to about 10 o'clock. Click on A and put your cutoff to about 12 noon. The soften attack doesn't really do anything. It's really all about the cutoff. So cutoff noon on A, easy, cutoff 10 o'clock. Now let's look at the part. Okay, so you see B2, E3, and G3. Now look how they're spaced. You need to put your grid to 30-second notes, and then you'll see that the second note starts a 30-second note after. This is at measure 70, beat 1, and then the third note is 2 30-second notes in. All right, and then you can either do this in 30 seconds or in 16ths. You have a B that plays on the and of beat 3, a B that plays on the and of beat 3 of measure 70, and then an E that plays at beat 4 of measure 70, and it plays for 3/16 notes. All right. Once you get this and this, that actually plays 3 times. So I would do it here. For example, duplicate it, and then it's a slight change, okay? So slight different chord. The top 2 notes are the same, but the bottom one goes up from B to C. Same with the second note, goes from B to C. So very, very easy. You don't have to draw those in. You could almost just take that first one, duplicate it, come in, and move these up. Okay, and that just plays in that pattern. So that first one that's on B, 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 C. B, 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 C. So it just plays 3 times, and then the fourth one is the C. 1, 2, 3, C. Same, same, same. And that 4-measure pattern, is that 4 measures? I take that back. Yep. That 4-measure pattern plays up through measure 102. And then at 102, it changes. But let's see. Then it comes back at measure 110, and it starts that same 4-measure pattern over again. All right? Then it stops for 2 measures at 118. Then it does something slightly different, because this would actually be pattern 1 the first time, pattern 1 the second time, pattern 1, and then pattern 2. So this is the B, this is the C. Okay? So at 120, you're playing that first part of it, and you're playing the second part of it at measure 21. And then it goes back to part 1, part 1, part 1, part 2. Then it takes a break again until measure 134, and this is back to the 4-measure pattern. Part 1, part 1, part 1, part 2, part 1, part 1, part 1, part 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, and that's it. Okay, so there's just a couple breaks where this doesn't play, and only one weird section at measure, one more time, measure 120, that it plays pattern 1, then pattern 2 instead of 3 of them. Okay, next. Let's go to the 808s, okay? So this was called bass, at least I had it called bass dupe.
Virgil got a paddock.
So this is the only one we're going to keep on the same track, and we're going to keep going, and at same place at measure 70, we're going to drop an E, and then on beat 4 of measure 70, the and, okay, so remember, this is beat 4, beat 4, 3rd 16th note, E again. Okay, this is measure 71, beat 2, measure 72, beat 1, E, all the same note, the and of beat 4 of measure 72, then it hits C at beat 2 of 73, and that's pretty much it. All right, so if we look at this, that is the entire 808 part. Okay, you see the whole thing in your window right now. All right, and that repeats, duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. This one, you're going to duplicate and then pull it back so that it only plays half of the measure, or 2 measures instead of 4, because it stops, comes back, plays twice, that's kind of weird looking. Wait, comes back, plays twice, 2-measure break, comes back, plays 3 times, break, and then it plays out 4 times. Okay, so the 808 is pretty straightforward. Last section, the arpeggiator, the arpeggios. I'm just going to show you these chords, okay? Actually, let's get a sound in there. Expand. Polysynth. Okay, expand, polysynths, all-purpose stack. Very first one. It sounds like this. It's not going to sound like that for long, though. Let's look at the part. All right, so it's the same as the first synth part, but instead of having this kind of thing, they just play at the same time. All right, so you have B3, E4, G4. All right, these are higher pitched. That holds for 3 beats at measure 102. So at measure 102, beat 1, those 3 notes play for 3 beats. And then B again for 2 16th notes. All right, this is beat 4 of measure 102. And then E for 2 16th notes. Plays 3 times. and then it changes the chord there. So this is at measure 105. All that happened were these two notes went up. So it's basically the same as that first synth part. It doesn't play until 102. So this is again 4-measure pattern. That plays twice. Then it goes back to, then it doesn't play until measure 120. And just like that last part, it plays the first part of the first chord and then into the second chord. So one way you could do this is, I think, if I just take these and copy them down, I could raise them by an octave, because that is what I did, and then bring these to start all at the same time, drag them out so that they play for 3 measures. You don't have to do this, but if it makes sense, this is just me doing it in real time. All right, back just to arranging it. So this is first part, second part, back to the 4-chord progression. So first part, second part. Same. So we're at measure 126, just doing 4-measure cut and paste. Same, keeps going. I'm just showing you these 4-measure sections. Keeps going, okay? So that's almost the easiest thing. Now, there's no part that sounds like that, so we're going to play with that a little bit. What I want you to do is underneath expand, you're going to click, go to multi-channel plugin, modulation, and choose the Air Vintage filter. And I want you to take the cutoff. I want to even play with that more. To about 11 o'clock. Then, back in expand, I want you to go underneath the word play and click on ARP. We're going to turn on, so click the on button. We're going to change the number 16. Click on 16, change it to 8. Where you see this arrow, I want you to click in there, and I want you to go scroll to up and down, U and D. I want you to do the same thing down on this part. ARP, 16 becomes 8, up becomes U and D, up and down, turn it on. I actually like that almost a little bit higher. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. That is the second part, second half of this song, the beat switch.